Imagine that somewhere beneath the deep blue ocean lies the ruins of a magnificent city. A place filled with golden temples, advanced technology, beautiful palaces, and thousands of people living in luxury. Then, in a single day and night, everything disappeared forever beneath the sea. What if this wasn't just a legend? What if Atlantis was real? For more than 2,000 years, explorers, historians, archaeologists, and even scientists have searched for this mysterious civilization. Some believe it was destroyed by a massive earthquake. Others think it was swallowed by a giant tsunami. And a few believe it still waits to be discovered beneath the ocean. Today, we're going to explore one of history's greatest mysteries. Welcome to the story of Atlantis. The story of Atlantis first appeared more than 2,300 years ago in the writings of the famous Greek philosopher Plato. Around 360 BC, Plato wrote two books called Timaeus and Critias. In these dialogues, he described a powerful island nation located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, known today as the Strait of Gibraltar. According to Plato, Atlantis was unlike any civilization the world had ever seen. It had enormous temples covered in gold and silver. Its people built incredible canals that connected different parts of the city. Huge ships traveled through its ports carrying treasures from every corner of the known world. The Atlanteans were wealthy, intelligent, and incredibly powerful. They possessed advanced engineering, strong armies, and magnificent architecture that amazed everyone who visited. But with great power came great pride. Plato claimed that the people of Atlantis slowly became greedy and corrupt. Instead of using their knowledge to improve the world, they began conquering neighboring lands. According to the story, the gods became angry. Then disaster struck. Violent earthquakes shook the island. Massive floods swept across the land. Within a single day and night, Atlantis vanished beneath the sea, never to be seen again. Since then, people around the world have asked the same question: was Atlantis a real place, or simply one of the greatest stories ever told? In this video, we'll examine the evidence, the theories, and the latest discoveries that continue to keep the legend of Atlantis alive. To understand the mystery of Atlantis, we first need to understand the man who told its story. Plato was one of the greatest philosophers in history. He lived in ancient Greece over 2,300 years ago and wrote about politics, science, education, and human nature. Many of his writings still influence the modern world today. According to Plato, the story of Atlantis was not something he invented himself. He claimed that it had been passed down through generations. The story supposedly came from the famous Athenian lawmaker Solon, who had traveled to Egypt around 600 BC. During his visit, Egyptian priests told Solon about an ancient island civilization that had existed thousands of years before his time. They described Atlantis as a powerful kingdom located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, the narrow passage now known as the Strait of Gibraltar. The island was said to be larger than Libya and Asia combined, although historians still debate what Plato really meant by that comparison. According to the legend, Atlantis was blessed with fertile land, rich forests, beautiful mountains, and valuable minerals. The island had everything its people needed to build a great civilization. One of the most fascinating parts of Plato's description was the design of the capital city. He described a city built with a series of perfectly shaped circular rings of land and water. Bridges connected each ring, allowing people to travel throughout the city with ease. Ships could sail directly into the center through carefully engineered canals. At the heart of the city stood a magnificent temple dedicated to Poseidon, the Greek god of the sea. The temple was decorated with gold, silver, and a mysterious metal called orichalcum, which Plato described as one of the most valuable materials in the ancient world. The people of Atlantis were said to be skilled builders, engineers, sailors, and warriors. They created advanced harbors, impressive roads, and massive defensive walls. Their wealth allowed them to trade with distant lands and build an empire that stretched across the seas. But according to Plato, success slowly changed the Atlanteans. Their wisdom was replaced by greed. Their desire for peace became a desire for conquest. Instead of respecting other nations, they tried to dominate them. This, Plato wrote, was the beginning of their downfall. The gods believed Atlantis had become corrupt. As punishment, powerful earthquakes and enormous floods struck the island. In only one day and one night, the entire civilization disappeared beneath the ocean. Whether this dramatic ending was meant to describe a real historical disaster or simply teach a moral lesson remains one of the greatest unanswered questions in history. For centuries, people accepted Plato's story as nothing more than a fascinating legend. But in the modern era, explorers and researchers began asking an exciting question: what if Plato was describing a real place? That question has inspired countless expeditions, scientific studies, and theories, some convincing, others extraordinary. And even today, the search for Atlantis continues. If Atlantis really existed, where could it be? This simple question has inspired explorers for centuries. From the Atlantic Ocean to the Mediterranean Sea, and even as far as Antarctica, countless locations have been suggested. Yet after hundreds of years of searching, no one has found undeniable proof. One of the most popular theories points to the Greek island of Santorini. Around 1600 BC, a massive volcanic eruption destroyed much of the island. The explosion was one of the largest in human history. It created huge tsunamis that swept across the eastern Mediterranean, destroying coastal settlements and changing the region forever. Nearby was the advanced Minoan civilization on the island of Crete. The Minoans were famous for their impressive buildings, colorful art, and successful trade across the Mediterranean. Some historians believe that memories of this devastating natural disaster may have survived for generations before eventually becoming the legend of Atlantis. While this theory is supported by archaeological evidence of the eruption, there is no proof that the Minoans were actually Atlantis. Another theory suggests that Atlantis lies beneath the Atlantic Ocean itself. Some researchers have searched the waters near the Azores Islands, believing they could be the mountain peaks of a much larger land that sank beneath the sea thousands of years ago. However, modern geology presents a major problem with this idea. Scientists know that continents do not simply sink into the ocean in a short period of time. Earth's tectonic plates move extremely slowly over millions of years, making the sudden disappearance of a large continent highly unlikely. Other researchers have proposed locations near Spain. Satellite images and aerial photographs have revealed unusual circular formations in marshlands near the southern coast. Some people believe these shapes resemble Plato's description of Atlantis with its rings of land and water. Archaeologists have investigated these sites, but so far, no discoveries have confirmed the existence of the legendary city. Perhaps the most unusual theory places Atlantis beneath the ice of Antarctica. Supporters argue that the continent was once warmer and capable of supporting an ancient civilization before becoming covered in ice. But scientists explain that Antarctica has been frozen for millions of years, long before humans ever appeared. Because of this, the Antarctic theory is not accepted by mainstream researchers. Over the years, many underwater photographs, mysterious stone structures, and strange rock formations have been presented as proof of Atlantis. Some internet videos even claim the city has already been discovered. In almost every case, experts found a much simpler explanation. Natural rock formations, volcanic activity, or man-made structures from more recent periods often turned out to be responsible. Even today, no archaeological discovery has been accepted by the scientific community as evidence that Atlantis truly existed. Yet the mystery continues. Every new underwater discovery, every ancient map, and every unexplained ruin brings fresh excitement. The possibility that a forgotten civilization could still be waiting beneath the waves keeps the legend alive. Even though thousands of years have passed since Plato first wrote about Atlantis, the mystery is still alive in modern science. Today, advanced technology allows researchers to explore the deepest parts of the ocean using sonar mapping, underwater drones, and satellite imaging. These tools have revealed thousands of unknown structures beneath the sea. But so far, none of them have been confirmed as Atlantis. Many scientists believe that Atlantis was never a real place, but instead a philosophical story created by Plato. In this view, Atlantis was meant to represent the dangers of greed, corruption, and the fall of powerful civilizations. In other words, Atlantis may have been less about geography, and more about human behavior. However, not everyone agrees with this interpretation. Some researchers still believe that Plato's story could have been inspired by real historical events. Large-scale natural disasters, such as volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, and floods, have destroyed entire civilizations throughout history. It is possible that stories of one or more of these events were passed down over generations and eventually became the legend of Atlantis. What makes Atlantis so fascinating is that it exists between history and imagination. There is no single piece of evidence that proves it existed, but also no final proof that completely rules it out. This uncertainty is what keeps people searching. Every year, new underwater explorations take place. Ancient shipwrecks are discovered. Lost cities are found buried beneath jungles and oceans. And each discovery raises the same exciting question: what else might be waiting to be found? Atlantis may or may not have been real, but its impact on human imagination is undeniable. It has inspired books, movies, scientific expeditions, and endless theories for more than 2 millennia. And perhaps that is the true power of Atlantis, not as a lost city, but as a timeless mystery that reminds us how much of our world is still unknown. So, what do you think? Was Atlantis a real civilization lost beneath the ocean, or just one of the greatest stories ever told? Let us know your opinion in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey into one of history's greatest mysteries, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more stories like this.